Me again. Yep. Sorry, son. Yeah, it's in the wrong place. Seems to me. Anyway, okay, wasted 20 seconds. Anyway, okay, two parts to this video, maybe. Short video, maybe. Shorter. Yeah, wow. Already wasted a fucking 30 seconds now. Anyway, alright, so there's this argument for antinatalism, this end of the, whatever. I mean, I'm going to call myself a ephilist, life spelled backwards. Anyway, unlife, whatever. There is this voluntary human extermination movement, and that just doesn't sound too good. Or eradication. Discontinuation movement, that probably sound better. Unraveling, unevolving, whatever. The point is you're going to stop the madness, stop the perpetual reproduction machine, discontinue the reproduction. So anyway, we can come up with some pleasant phraseology, because that's what the world is all about. It's about name calling and pretty phrases and puffy fluffy words, and fuck the substance. It really is disgusting that you have to think that way, that you even have to worry about this bullshit, and people can't just get to the argument core of everything. So anyway, for this discontinuation argument, there's two parts to it in my opinion. The first part is this human ethics one, that has to do with the imposing nature of procreation and what I would call collateral damage, the inevitable collateral damage. So how do you justify the collateral damage of unintended consequences? Even though those consequences are statistically known, that when you have a child, especially in certain circumstances, like poverty, like you have a genetic defect, that there will be a permutation, a probability of outcome, and you know it. So it's almost hard to call it unintended collateral damage, because it seems like it's quite intentional, which makes it even more pernicious. So what's the argument? What's the counter argument? How many people have to draw the short straw, have a life they really dislike passionately, have to endure living it at least these 18 years until they have the right to act on their dislike of it, and then they're offered the non-option of an inhumane and rather brutal, usually, suicide. But even if you gave them the right to die at 18, the point is they'd still have to endure some substance of the bad life. And part of it is stuff you don't know what's going to happen to you. I mean, I don't know. I could be walking right now, aneurysm blows up in my brain. I go through absolute horror for a couple of days before I can get out of the hospital to kill myself. Or something like that. Because, they're not going to allow me to do it there. So there's all kinds of circumstances where I will endure pain or suffering that I have contempt for, that I consider to be a waste, an absolute disgusting waste of suffering. So anyway, let's not argue it. I think a rational person has got to concede that in procreating, you take a high probability risk that there will be collateral damage. That overall, some point something percentage of the birthings will be undesirable effect. There will be a birth that wants to not to be a birth in the end. It will be considered a mistake and a waste. And so how much waste, how much friction is justifiable for what you consider to be the function? So for the sake of argument, I'll concede there's some value you're perceiving in playing your game. I'm just asking you to qualify that. How many victims are you allowed to create in playing your game, your procreation game? What's the justifiable percentage? So if you're going to defend life, defend the collateral damage, defend and point out exactly what the number has to be. How big does the number have to be before you say it's unacceptable? Be a little more explicit, please. Have at least the character and balls to say to the face of the victims that you think they're an acceptable cost for your whatever it is you think you're accomplishing. Have the balls to say to their face, I think your suffering is an acceptable cost for my life loving. Yeah, I love life, and you're an acceptable cost for me to get what I want, which is to pursue my ego gratification in humanity's roller coaster of fun. So, like any other activity, if mountain climbing, killed innocent people, like let's even contrive an example. Like let's say a certain number of helicopter pilots looking for the bodies of mountain climbers die, searching for them. And let's put a name and a face on that. How high would that number have to be? How many rescuers have to die attempting to save mountain climbers before we say mountain climbing just isn't worth it? So give me some numbers, please. Give me something real for a change. I'm saying none of it's acceptable because none of your romping and stomping about here on planet Earth is accomplishing anything. But since you say it is accomplishing something, you have the obligation to tell me, how high does the number have to get before you say it's too high? Again, I've asked this one before, but yeah, how many people do have to die in World War II or in World War III for you to say no mas? How many people have to burn to death in World War III for you to say, yeah, humans fail. They just fail. Fuckers, give me a real answer. So anyway, that's the argument from imposition, or the argument from collateral damage, let's call it. And so that's one prong. And the other prong is the absolute argument, the more absolute, like anti-war argument, that it's just bad. War is bad. And life is bad. By its very nature, by its fundamental function, it is cleaning up a mess it creates. So the second prong of the argument is the I deserve an explanation for why there is reason, rationality, logic, sensibility in creating a need that doesn't need to exist. And that's what a human being is. Human beings need things. They need to hope. They need to wish. They need to think they're going to live on planet Earth for 1,000,000 years. They need to think, I don't know, stupid things. Like we're going to go colonize Mars or whatever they think the human race needs to be around to do. They need it. And if you don't create them, the need just disappears. Because the need isn't real. It only exists in their deluded psychologies. And if their psychologies don't exist, the need doesn't exist. So the absolute argument is, why create a need that doesn't need to exist? There is no need to joyfully fornicate in the fluffy flowers if there's no need machine needing to fornicate in the fluffy flowers. Fornicating in the fluffy flowers has no functional function. It accomplishes nothing real. It does no real good thing. It just does something good to mechanisms that need to fornicate in the fluffy flowers. So deal with that reality of the absolute argument and deal with the ethical reality of your right, your authority, your justification for creating collateral damage for your rather frivolous romp on the human roller coaster ride. Okay, enough of the video. Ran out of time, unfortunately. Started late. prepared for the hurricane. Everything on the ground, lying low. Yeah, the whole thing's a bunch of hype. It's probably not even going to be a tropical storm by the time it gets here now. But I'll probably get flooded out because I've been pooping on the hurricane. So it'll come and get me. Anyway, until next time.